can see from my decor here, it is Christmas season and I'm actually gearing up tonight for an amazing holiday party with a bunch of my friends. And so of course, I'm making one of my signature favorite appetizers to make, baked brie. And if you're my friend, then you know that it's basically what I bring to every single party. And the reason being is because it's one of those things that you can just easily have all the ingredients in your refrigerator, and then even if you have 30 minutes to pop it in and take it back out, you're all good to go. And the best part is that it's so easy and it's always a crowd pleaser. There is not one circumstance that I can think of when I haven't introduced it to my friends and them not ask me for the recipe after. So for all of you, here it is, so you don't have to ask me again. Just watch this video and impress all of your friends and family. All right, let's get started. Come have a seat. Okay, so the great thing about the holidays is that they always bring out these humongous brie wheels. Normally you'll find the ones in the supermarket that are literally like a third of the size. But with the Thanksgiving and Christmas seasons rolling about, you get these guys, which is my absolute favorite. So this is a treat for all of you. I'm gonna take this brie wheel out of its packaging. Look at that! It's so huge. I wonder how many pounds this thing is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to just place this back in its tray for now because I'm going to start with, of course, the crescent rolls, which a lot of people tend to use phyllo dough or like puff pastry for their baked brie, but my secret is using these crescent rolls because I feel like they look prettier and they taste better, because who wouldn't want like a croissant type of thing with their brie cheese? I mean, it's kind of amazing. What I'm doing is I'm just laying this crescent dough, out on my parchment paper, not wax paper, parchment paper, by the way. Very important to know the difference. So I am just going to take my time by pressing all the holes together to make one big sheet. One thing I like to do is take a second roll of parchment like that and flatten it out. You can also obviously use a pin roller if that's easier for you, but I feel like this is just as fast. So now I'm gonna go ahead and place the big brie cheese over it and measure, and it's still a little too big. So luckily I have 2 or 3 of these. I'm just gonna have to work with it. I'm not used to this huge one. I'm used to the super tiny one. So normally you actually only need one of these guys, but because we have the holiday size brie, we're gonna need to double or triple up. And another note for you guys, if you're making it for your first time, just make sure that you do not defrost these crescent rolls or the brie cheese before you cook it. Like, just take it out of the refrigerator right before you need to make this, because when the brie is melting, it's going to overcook in the oven by the time that this crescent dough is perfectly golden brown, and then everything's just going to be oozing all over the place, which doesn't necessarily sound horrible for all you cheese lovers, but it just doesn't look as pretty if you have all this cheese deflating out of your crescent dough. So to make life easier, you're just gonna pop it right out of the refrigerator right before you start, just like what I did. Alright. Okay, now this should be the proper size, and yes, looky here, it fits. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this aside, and I'm going to do that actually one more time because you're gonna have to put another round of this crescent roll dough on top here. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, so I actually decided to bust out my old trusty rolling pin here for this top layer of the crescent dough because I wanted to make sure that it was smooth, no bumps, no holes or anything. So this is all done. Moving this aside. And now this is the most important part. Please do not forget this when you're making your baked brie, because Goodness knows I have very many times because I get so excited to wrap this guy. But before we do that, we need to add A, the nuts, and B, the jam. And so this is where you can get creative if you want. I tend to switch out my nuts and jam very, very frequently. It's almost never the same combo, which is an amazing thing about baked brie. It almost never turns out the exact same. But today, since it is a holiday themed party, I'm doing blackberry jam just because I feel like that is such a winter flavor. And so yeah, this is just store-bought blackberry jam. You can go ahead and make your own jam if you're feeling very Martha Stewart. I've made my own strawberry jam before and it's turned out amazing. But for those of you who don't necessarily have the time, you can just go ahead and lather up this store-bought jam. Trust me, they won't know the difference. All right, so just getting every little surface of this brie here. Look at that color. I love me some blackberry jam. All right, and nuts-wise, today I'm gonna go with pecans, though I normally try to stick to walnuts or even macadamia nuts sometimes, but with that being said, pecans are one of my absolute favorites to go along with this brie. All right, that looks delicious. And you don't need that many nuts either. A lot of people say that nuts are kind of pricey, especially if you're going to go to Whole Foods, which is where I got mine. But a trick that I've learned is to go in the bulk section of Whole Foods and just buy literally just as many of the nuts as you need, which is not that many. Look at this, it's covering the entire brie and all of these pecans with only $1.39 in the bulk section. So, neat little trick. You don't have to spend $12 to get your nuts for your brie. Perfect. Okie dokie. So, another great option for you to know, for example, if you ran out of your crescent dough, you can just actually wrap up this crescent dough on the side and make it up until right here, the rim of the brie, and you can bake it like that, and it's really pretty also because when it's all done, you can still see the nuts and the jam, and there are no surprises basically. You already know what to expect going into it, but I like to make it wrapped like a present, which is what we're going to do. So I'm gonna carefully peel this guy off, and dun-dun-dun. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And I'm going to now obviously wrap brie. Oh, side note, if you're wondering who's filming this, turn the camera around.
Nope.
Yes, you can do it. Well, you know it's Hudson. He doesn't want to be seen camera shy tonight for some reason. But, yep, that's what I'm making this for. And this is a fun little story while I'm doing this. The first time I ever made this was for a party. We call it potluck in Hawaii, where everybody brings a dish. And I had never even tried baked brie in my life. But for some reason, I don't know if it was a show I watched or something, but I looked up a recipe for it and I bought the ingredients, did the whole thing. And when it was done, we decided to try the brie, like cut a slice out of it to make sure it tastes good. And long story short, we ended up not going to the party and just eating the entire thing to ourselves. So that is how good baked brie is, and it's the easiest thing in the world to make. All right, so now I'm just gonna quickly pop this in the refrigerator while I get started on the design for this guy. As I said earlier, you shouldn't let your brie thaw out too much or it's going to really get melted in when you cook it. Don't mind our refrigerator, it's just filled with goodies.
Healthy stuff.
Health.
And such.
You're gonna rest over there, young lady? Yes, Brie is a lady. So I have one more lucky little crescent roll here, which is going to be used for the decor. So, bring back trusty old parchment. So, if you're going to be making this a lot, you might want to invest in these little guys, cookie cutters. Back in Hawaii, I had a bunch of random ones but since we're here in LA, I didn't have any of them with me, so I just bought this little heart one because I figure I could travel with it, it's light enough, and you can use a heart all year round, it doesn't matter. But last Thanksgiving I did one with a bunch of leaves, which I thought was really cool. So, for this guy, I'm just going to keep it relatively simple. Take out a piece, roll it out a little, and cut a heart. And that looks divine. Alright, and then now, so I just have one heart here, and for the rest, I'm actually just going to make the word holidays, I think. Or merry? Should I do merry? Holiday. Holiday, yeah. I'm gonna go with holiday. Alrighty kids, we're almost done, believe it or not. The last thing that I like to do, and I highly recommend you do it as well, is a little egg wash. So I'm just going to crack one egg, and I'm going to very lightly give it a little mix. And normally I would use my brush to paint over this whole thing, but since I don't have one, don't worry, I have clean hands. I'm just going to take my fingers in here and lightly brush over all of this lovely crescent dough. And basically what this does is it gives it a really beautiful golden shine, which I think basically it makes it so much prettier. So I highly recommend that you do not skip this step. Alrighty, so it's pretty much good to go. I am gonna just pop it in the oven at 350 degrees for about half an hour or until the crust is nice and golden brown. So now all that's left to do is plop it on this baking dish and put it in the oven. So follow me. Oh my goodness, check it out! 30 minutes later in the oven, and this is what we've got, folks. Now, it's time to plate this sucker. Apologies about the mess, guys. While this was in the oven, I started with all the other recipes that I'm making for tonight's party, which, by the way, is in less than an hour. So I've got some things to do. So in the meantime, I did want to show you, though, that the Brie is done, and it's beautiful and golden brown, just the way I wanted it. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, well here is my spread. I like to put it on a wooden slab like this one and kind of add on crackers, fruits, nuts, whatever to go along with it. So I mean, what could be better for a holiday dinner than cheese and crackers? I mean, come on. The dressed up version at least. Alright, well this was just one idea of an amazing holiday recipe that is super easy and fun to make, as well as an ultimate crowd pleaser. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep checking back on my channel for more, and enjoy your holidays. Have a safe one, everybody. Mwah!